Expectancy violations theory was authored by Judy Burgoon in the late 1970s as a result of a student assignment to make sense of proxemics and space relations. Expectancy violation theory pulls directly from the works of anthropologist Edward Hall and his studies that he conducted in the 1960s of Americans in the Northeast. He theorized 4 proxemic zones. Initially called nonverbal expectancy violations theory and focusing on proximities, touch, and posture, it was eventually broadened to include words and actions. In a nutshell, expectancy violations theory examines expectancies, which are the thoughts, behaviors, and actions we anticipate of others in conversation, and how we manage breaches of these expectations. A violation is any deviation, whether positive or negative, from our expectancies. When a violation occurs, this causes cognitive and physical arousal. Cognitive arousal is acute mental awareness that deviations have occurred. Physical arousal is a bodily change, movement, or repositioning that results from deviations or violations and expectations. A threat threshold is a tolerance for distance violation. Some exhibit high threat thresholds while others are low. Territoriality is a person's ownership of an area or object. Territoriality is accompanied by prevention and reaction. Interactants evaluate and determine the interpretation of violations and communication by using violation balance. According to the theory, people place positive or negative value on any violation of an expectancy to try to make sense of it. Communicator reward balance takes into consideration what the communicator brings to the table, what potential they have to reward, in essence their value, be it looks, attraction, status, competence, or credibility. Let me give a little background on this movie. Starman is an extraterrestrial that has taken on human form. He is taking a road trip with his captive companion Jenny from northern Wisconsin down to Arizona. Along the way, he has many encounters, learning expected behaviors, norms, and customs as he interacts with Jenny and other people he meets along the way. In this scene, there are 2 interactions, a pre-dinner and a post-dinner interaction with the hunter in the parking lot. We pick up the scene in the post-dinner encounter.
That son of a bitch.
No!
Hey, what happened to the goddamn deer?
She went there, to the woods.
Okay, comedian. Bingo.
Stop it! You leave him alone.
Butt out, girlie.
He doesn't understand. He's a foreigner. He doesn't speak English.
Oh, what?
Hey! Bingo.
Let's break down the scene and give a little context. We find the hunter enjoying his meal when he looks out and sees Starman at his car, messing around with the dead deer. Given their pre-dinner encounter, where the hunter used a prevention method to deny Starman access to his territory by positioning himself between Starman and his objects. In this instance, the threat threshold was low, the situation was de-escalated, and both parties respectively went in to eat dinner. The hunter thought expectations were made clear. Now he looks out and sees Starman again messing with his deer. There is cognitive arousal and physical arousal as he rushes over to confront the violator. Expectancies and territory have been violated. This time the hunter takes reactionary measures instead of the previous passive approach. He lays out Starman with a nice uppercut. Starman, picking himself up, in turn mimics the hunter's response and lays him out. The hunter's buddies, watching from afar and seeing the ringleader go down, come running to his aid. They are, by association, territorially tied to the deer, the car, and the ringleader. They get involved because their expectancies and territory has been violated, and a reactionary measure is needed. What can we learn from this encounter? In the wise words of Han Solo, keep your distance. Territorial disputes are not going to end well. The first time around, the territorial threat was countered by passive prevention and was partially de-escalated thanks to Jenny intervening on Starman's behalf. Learn from your encounters. Starman said he was on a mission to observe and learn, memorizing everything he heard, saw, and touched. That doesn't seem to be the case here, as he deliberately walked right back into the same violations. Respect ownership and distance. Understand that not all interactions are equal, and not all will be amicable and net a friendship. Know the players involved. EVT touches on all aspects of our interactions with people around us, whether they be strangers, coworkers, friends, or family. Violations are going to happen. It's part of life. Burgoon suggests we take everything in stride. Communication will not be effective or authentic if we go into every interchange with calculation and self-monitoring. We might as well be robots if that were the case. We can, at certain times, plan out ahead of time our communication and make appropriate choices going into the interaction. We can learn from our previous interactions how to avoid the same violations in future exchanges and how to have productive, effective communication. Take it easy or up yours, whichever doesn't violate your expectancy.